So for Supergirl, I'll tell you this. I enjoyed the movie to an extent. Not overall, but to an extent. I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't love it. It's in that middle portion for me. And I'll admit, for the second movie out, I'm not a gun hater, but I did enjoy the early stage of the DCEU more than I've enjoyed the early stage of the DCU. I think Man of Steel is a better movie than Superman. And I think Batman vs. Superman, particularly the Ultimate Edition, is a better movie than Supergirl. But does that mean that I hate the Gunverse, the DC Universe? No. I really enjoyed Superman last year. It set up so many great things for where the DC Universe can go. So don't mishear me here. I did enjoy that film. Did I love Millie Alcock as Supergirl? Yes, she was so good in this role. And there were so many things about this movie that I actually really enjoyed. And at first, when I started watching this movie, I was wondering, where's that negativity? Where's this bad film that I kept hearing about? Why do so many people not care for this version of or at least this movie? What is it that's not landing? Because I'd say the first half of the movie, I was on board with. The action I heard was kind of messy. I thought it was very entertaining, widely entertaining. I thought it worked really well. The character Supergirl, thought she worked really well. The bond between her and Krypto, I heard, was something that they should have gone a little bit more into in this movie. But for me, it worked from the very beginning. Understood their bond, understood why she was mad, why she went on this trip, why she went on this whole mission. Totally made sense to me, and I was on board with it. I was having a lot of fun with this movie. Jason Momoa as Lobo is perfect in this role, and I can't wait to see more of him as Lobo. But then we got halfway through the movie, and the main thing that I'll point out that really didn't work for me was the message that Supergirl was telling Ruthie of, you can't kill Krem because it'll hurt you as a person. You'll take this with you for the rest of your life. You'll never be able to let that go. There's a major issue with this because, for one, Krem has done some very awful things. Now, I'm not advocating for murder. Not whatsoever. I'm not advocating for that, but it would be very understandable for a character like this to go on this revenge trip and then finally get their revenge. And for everything he did, for the trafficking that Krem has done, all this terrible stuff, murdering her entire family for another, I mean, you would totally understand where this character is going on. And then Supergirl, we would need a reason as to why she's saying this, because we never really got a context anywhere in the movie that was Supergirl holding on to something that she had done. That's what the movie needed to do, was show us a point in her life where she regretted taking a life. And now she holds that. And she takes that with her everywhere she goes. But just out of the blue, she just blurts this out and tells Ruthie, no, you can't do this. I don't understand where this is coming from for the character, because we're not familiar with this version of Supergirl, so we don't know why she has this way. We see what happened to her people on Krypton, but one does not really equate the other. One does not connect to the other. So there's an issue here with the messaging, with the reasoning, and we don't know what the motivation is. Where does the motivation of her saying this come from? And that's the biggest thing. And that's where the writing really started to falter. And then the whole second half of the film, it suffers from a lot of this kind of stuff. They push this so far, and then the character of Ruthie, for me, unfortunately, just kind of got on my nerves. They try to make the character funny, try to make her a straight-nosed character, and it comes off more as annoying rather than heartfelt and sincere. And that's where the writing, the direction of this character, I didn't really get emotions out of this actress. I didn't feel like there was much range in the performance here. So I don't know if this was the actress's fault or if this was Craig Gillespie's fault. If he didn't direct her properly, I don't know. There's just some stuff that didn't click in this part of the film. We get to the end of the movie, and then the whole end, it wraps up the party girl stage of Supergirl. She decides, I don't want to do this anymore, and it doesn't really feel like there's a reason as to why we have to get to that point with the character, but we don't have it. There's not a natural progression to show the development of Supergirl throughout this film. So there's issues in the writing and the portrayal, even the exposition. A movie that could be very dialogue heavy, but doesn't give you the proper exposition. So usually I say, go for show, don't tell. There's not even an issue of telling too much. Us as an audience we're kind of confused as to why Supergirl makes this progress as a character over time, and how she gets to that motivating factor at the end to decide to change her life, to become more of the hero that Clark always wanted her to be. And there's no connection there. Supergirl, the biggest fault of this film was the writing. This film was written by Ana Noguera, and I don't think that she needs to stay on with DC. Definitely shouldn't be the writer on the Wonder Woman film anymore. I just don't have any trust in this writer because of what she delivered with Supergirl. So this film does have some good aspects to it, but the writing is where it really started to fall apart in the second half of the film, and I can't really forgive them for that. It was very amateur, very day one writing. There's so many things, as I'm not a professional writer, but I look at this, I could just take a glance at the script if they would have showed it to me, and I could have told you, you're missing some elements here. And they missed that with Supergirl. So my overall review of this film is I enjoyed it to an extent. It has some good stuff. There's some good bones in this. There would have been a good movie in here had they just worked on the script a little harder. It's like this wasn't even a draft. This was a concept of a draft. And they just decided to run with that and make the movie. And it really disappoints me because this is the second movie out of this new DC universe with DC Studios. This is their second film after Superman. And they're trying to rebuild the trust with the audience, with the fan base, with DC. And there's still so much division between people who want to go back to the DCEU, people who love the DCU, so much yelling across the aisle, and this was a movie that needed to be great and unfortunately was just okay. Okay is not good enough for DC right now. They have to have some really, really good, it has to be at least good in this movie. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just okay. And that's almost worse than being a bad movie, because at the end of all this, it's going to become a forgettable movie. We're not even going to remember that this movie came out. We're not going to remember what the plot was, and we're going to forget what the good aspects of this movie were as well, because there were some good. It's not as bad as a lot of the people online are saying, so we need to take that into account. This movie's not as bad as everybody's saying it is, but it is unfortunately a knock against the new DC universe, and they've got to take account into what they did here. They got to start working on this stuff, make it a little better. They got to tweak these scripts and make sure they're really ready to go before they go into production. The writing, at the very least, has to be top-notch when you go into a project like this, and unfortunately it just wasn't there. If I'm going to give this movie a rating, it's got to be a 3.5 out of 5 or a B- on the letter scale. Again, not a bad score, not a great score, but sometimes I'll see a movie that's a 3.5 out of 5 and I'll come out of that experience really enjoying it, really looking forward to, maybe there'll be a sequel to this. There's a lot of good here that they could build upon, but I was more disappointed, I think, with this movie than I was overall. So unfortunately for this movie, with it getting a 3.5 out of 5, I was expecting a lot more out of it. I was at least expecting this movie to get a 4, hopefully a 4.5, and it just didn't get that. So I might be a little generous in the score I'm giving this movie. I don't think it's not entirely bad. It's not entirely great. It's just okay. And at the end of the day, I'm going to forget this movie really ever happened. So if you've seen Supergirl, go down in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this movie. Do you think it's a step in the right direction for the DC universe? Do you think it's a step in the wrong direction? Do you think that the DC universe needs to be completely rebooted once again? Go down in the comment section, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for checking out that clip from my new podcast, Talking Movies and More. It will be intercut with the podcast we're doing called The Assembly Cut I'm doing with Hayden Smalley, and I hope you stick around and check out that podcast as well. Be sure to check it out here on YouTube or your favorite podcasting platform, either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Go down in the comment section, let me know what you thought of the topic we discussed here today. Thank you so much for checking this video out. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified when new videos go live to this channel. When you do that, it always helps me out, and I greatly appreciate it. Hope you all have an awesome and a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.